Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and it's been a pretty dramatic day on the timeline these past couple of days. Many topics that are very interesting, I believe, to run through in today's video, but also gearing up for the final day of Stage 2, Week 1 of the Pro League. Some very interesting matchups we're going to have later today. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Before we get into things, just wanted to touch once again on this whole issue we had yesterday with the stream not being in the best state. Honestly, hopefully today it goes back to normal and things are actually okay, but as you can see, Clay talking about it right here. And what does somewhat confuse me about this whole situation, I mean, Jacob does a tweet talking about how the frustrations of watching such a great series, but in such a difficult, actually, viewing environment, and a lot of people obviously weren't very happy about it. The stream was basically unwatchable, and it is very frustrating to see, because I'm sure there was a lot of people, I mean, every single time the CDL goes live, there's people who are watching the CDL for the very first time. Like, I'm sure there was a number of viewers that, like, it was the first time ever watching the CDL that are coming to that stream. Do you think they're ever coming back? I mean, like, certainly not, right? And it does make it kind of interesting to me that it's, you know, it's Lottie and it's some of the casters and the analyst staff. Those are the people that are coming out and talking about this whole issue and saying, look, the production team is working on it, rather than the CDL saying anything, right? And on the stream, on the broadcast, I mean, they're not mentioning it at all. And yeah, I just think it's a little bit strange that the CDL can't come out and say, okay, hang on a second, there were some issues here, we're doing our best to deal with it. It's instead like put onto the talent to actually deal with the backlash of the community from the front end. So I think everything's a little bit strange, but as I say, hopefully it's fixed later today and it's not an issue we have to talk about anymore. Thought this was cool from Octane as well, as he says, like, game 5 round 11 against the Dallas Empire doesn't get too much closer than that. He went off in the search and destroys as well. I'm pretty sure EasyMac tweeted out that in like 19 of the 22 rounds in those two search and destroy maps, both went round 11, both of which the Dallas Empire won. Octane had at least one kill in like 19 of those rounds and had like 24-25 kills over the course of both of the maps. So very impressive from Octane indeed, and kind of clapping back in some way. This YouTuber's still got some life in it. We talked not too long ago about the fact that Pac-Man was like, look, Octane should step down for the YouTube content stuff to focus on competing. Doesn't seem to necessarily be hurting him, but still, yeah, a series that they could have won, and if they had won it, would have put them in a great spot, but still they have a great chance in the rest of their group, all things considered, and well, obviously a tough group. This I thought I'd mention as well. A lot of you guys pointing this out to me yesterday. Dr. Disrespect once again teasing the possibility of his CDL team in the near future. I mean, we've seen this a number of times already, so I don't really know how much more there is to say on this issue, but you can see he's got the to-do list right here, he's got the book coming out, pretty cool stuff. Number 2 is announce a CDL team. So look, when's this going to happen? Who really knows? And actually, in a couple of minutes time here, we're going to talk about what Parasite had to say about potential expansion into the future. Parasite reckons that the intention of the CDL is to expand the CDL over multiple regions, right? So not only just having, you know, the World League, just technically just all based in North America, but also have a European League and maybe a league in other regions as well, so that there's multiple divisions. And well, whether the CDL has the competition to support that, that's a question mark. But maybe it also means that the expansion teams they're looking for are not necessarily, so many of them are going to be US based. And well, that does beg a question as to how many spots there are left in the North American region if they do want to expand out. We'll go into that in a few minutes time, but well, once again, Dr. Disrespect teasing that something might be on the horizon, but I don't imagine anything will really come out for a number of months time when the season, or at least when the season is a little bit further matured. This is well that Brandon discovers right here, so on Apocalypse you can actually just shoot straight through this tree right here. Crone replies to it as well, and well, maybe a fix will come from the track guys as well, but certainly I've been enjoying watching Apocalypse as of late, but this is a spot where you just like kind of merge into this tree and can shoot through it, which probably needs to be fixed relatively soon. And speaking of maps, Black Ops Cold War News, Warzone News, came out with this yesterday. We could be getting a remastered map for the mid-season update in 5 days time. They then come out and say, okay, this is what the mid-season update looks like, a couple of new maps coming into play, but the content in this tweet is just the new content for the Season 2 roadmap. There may be other surprises too. Now, they're talking about a remastered map. We heard the rumours that there was going to be some other remastered maps coming back at some point. We heard Standoff mentioned, we had maybe Hijacked mentions, we heard Slums mentions, and well, if one of those does come out in the coming days, that could honestly be fantastic for the competitive scene from Stage 3 forwards if they decide to make some changes once again to the map set rotation, which maybe is on the horizon. Hopefully that is the case. This clip from Zoom I'll go through from the end of the video because it was pretty entertaining. OpTic pre-show yesterday, and well, this Cellium impression I thought definitely got a laugh out of me. I'll chuck it at the end of the video for your guys' enjoyment. Let's go on to this challenges drama then, because there's been a lot going on here these last few days, and I was kind of saving a good moment to talk about some of this drama, and well, this one comes out last night. So Jimbo a few days ago, he basically, I mean, I'll play this clip on screen for you guys, but effectively there's some frustration going on, and he said some words, like he basically threatens to shoot Kismet in the head, like really, I don't know, really strange, not really sure why he did that, and well, he ended up getting suspended, I imagine from the CDL side, from challenges for 3 months due to threatening another player after a match last week. So Decimator will take his place on the fantastic fantastic 4 squads. Yeah, really strange stuff. I'll play it on screen.
Looking like that, you're gonna get shot in the head.
I thought Casey was host.
I'm gonna get shot in the head.
thought
Who
Casey
the
was
f think you are?
Jimbo
Where the
said he would shoot
look,
you. What the f?
He says he'll shoot you in the head? Holy. Wait, who said to shoot who?
Jimbo said he would shoot Matt in the head.
Oh god. Have to double check his bag for show.
It just surprises me the fact that like something like this happens all the time in challenges. I swear, like that this whole Sib thing happened last year with a homophobic slur or whatever. Then he got dropped off FaZe Academy and then brought back. I mean, it's just chaos at the amateur scene every single night. He does tweet this out, you know, my redemption, saying like, you know, I'm sorry about that. I should have kept my mouth shut and just moved on. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Want to personally apologize to the member of that team and to the members of that team and to everyone that supported me. Also, one entertaining thing is that Waskin, just a couple of days ago, we saw Parasite saying on the podcast the idea that, okay, Waskin, like, if he wants to get back in the Pro League and compete at the highest level once again, he's got to prove that he can do it through the 2K or through the Challengers Cups and actually play in the Challenger side in addition to just streaming Warzone like he has been doing lately. Seems like Waskin kind of took that on board. As you can see right here, he's playing competitive in Cold War. I'm in the 2K with kids I've never spoken to. I think like a couple of people just hit up Waskin to say like, does he want to play in the Challengers Cup? And he was like, yeah, go on there, we'll actually play it. And well, a nice clip right here. Woo, never less here on this Checkmate Control. So definitely looks like he's going to be getting back into competing to some degree. I think it'd be cool to see. We've clearly seen Scrap so far this year doing some good things on the Paris Legion, and maybe Waskin's return to the CDL is on the horizon. But certainly, if I was you know, a general manager of a team, I would definitely be looking at Waskin and saying, okay, look, how much is he actually competing in the Challenger side? Is he still proving that he wants to compete at the highest level? Because if he doesn't necessarily, then well, there's obviously a limited chance that he gets back into the Pro League going forward. So as we'll talk about in a second, the potential of a European expansion into the league might mean that there's actually more chance that this happens with some new cities coming into play. This is where I thought I mentioned Fastball, a pretty legendary player in Call of Duty history, not only for good reasons, but he officially retires yesterday from competing. More details to come in the future about my life. So yeah, thought I'd mention this. Another amateur scene like kind of situation going on. And this happened a few days ago. So Madcat says, my last take on this whole stupid conversation. There was a conversation that came out initially. It came out from, I think, Pac-Man on this new show he has with Deserto called Reverse Sweep. And he's talking about how like Hydra was only playing in the European Challengers region, saying, okay, the European Challengers region, much weaker than, kind of implying that it's much weaker than the North American region. Therefore, how much can you read into how his statistics have been and how well he's been doing in that region? However, some of the European amateur guys, for good reason, I think, are saying, hang on a second, actually, it's the European Challenger region which arguably is stronger than the North American region. We'll look at a couple of results here in just a second from previous LAN tournaments that they have had when both teams have been playing in the same situation. One great thing about the European region, actually, is that teams tend to stick together a lot more. In the North American region, one bad result, the teams just explode, and then they go and find on new teammates. Whereas the European region, a lot of the time, they're sticking with their team for a number of, well, at least a number of events, a few months at least, and we tend to see that team chemistry that builds up over time actually has a much more positive impact. So I think the maturity level, honestly, in the European region is pretty significantly different. And well, as Madcat says to finish off, both regions are good, but the usual American delusional state of mind is hitting the timeline. So this is what initially came out, Pac-Man had to say, as I just discussed. And Defrag says, look, SNG, that Singularity, went to North American Challengers last year and won, came back home and were getting top 6 until a roster change was made last year. I think they ended up dropping Chain or something. What do these people eat on a daily basis? Also, the disrespect on Josh is absolute joke. So definitely a lot of conversation here. Parasite, of course, chimes in. Singularity had a quad Texas team house in a region where distance impacts ping drastically. You are an idiot. They also won the first event, right? So the first event of last season, they actually won that. I mean, I think it was Hybrid Black or something. It was Awakening's team at the time, came in, or maybe it was Mac's team actually at the time, came in second place with that one. Kind of confused those guys. Yeah, pretty sure it was Mac on that team. And well, as Parasite says, that's all a Singularity, that's not all of EU. And yeah, a lot of discussion back and forth, of course, between the European. Then Pac-Man comes into play. You guys get mad about everything. It's just simple logic. There are more talented players here. Thus, the average level of play is high. It doesn't mean there aren't talented European players. How do you expect us not to get mad when you talk with such disrespect about a whole region, which when you look at the facts, won more than NA in the last 2 years of Challengers? And well, as he continues right here, whatever bids and these trolls had to say is mostly absolute BS. But yeah, you do have to ask the question, when's the last time Pac-Man was actually watching European Challengers at a high level? So of course the drama just continues. Defrag comes back at Parasite on some other side of things. They definitely have a bit of a back and forth. And well, I don't want to go through exactly every single tweet. If you want to do, yeah, pause the video and read through it at your own leisure, feel free to do so. But it gets down to this point where Parasite says the following: the league's goal, to my knowledge, is to expand like LCS, that being League of Legends Championship Series, and have leagues in multiple regions culminating to an actual World Championship. From what I've been told, but it's Activision, so who exactly knows what their thought process is. So this then is the going rumor at the present time, the idea that, okay, right now we have 12 teams, 10 of them are in North America, then we've got London and Paris in Europe. They want to expand somehow over maybe a couple of years, I'm not really sure, to get to the point where they have leagues in multiple regions. I'm sure Europe would be one of those regions, and then maybe where else it goes is a little bit unsure, but you'd need at least like 8 teams, I would think, to actually make a league work, like make a division work. So I can't imagine they're just expanding all to Europe this season. Maybe they just go from 12 to 16 teams, and they have like 2 more of those in Europe and 2 more in North America, and then like over time, then like maybe 2 years down the road, they then fully expand and have a North American league and a European league. So I'm not really sure. Maybe at some point they'll even get into, you know, APAC region or, you know, Japan or something, if that scene blows up over there. There's Brazilian teams, there's South African teams as well that have done, you know, relatively decently at amateur tournaments in the past. So a lot to say on this, to be honest. It's intriguing to see how this develops going forwards. I had also kind of heard this behind the scenes, so interesting that Parasite comes out and says it publicly in a tweet which has not yet been deleted. But Panda says in regards to this whole Challenger, North American versus European drama, bad idea at A-Boys. EU have had the Challenger scene since Black Ops 4. Nah, EU and APAC won almost every single event, aside from the one that Simp and Cellium played, and I'm pretty sure this is true in Black Ops 4. Like Simp and Cellium on like FaZe Black or something, they won one of the amateur events, but apart from that, it was pretty much the European guys getting the job done. And as Joey says as well, EU challengers at the top end have been steadily better the last 2 titles, and that is simply because way more NA amateur talent argument is just not true. EU talent seems more condensed, because generally they're smarter and more reliable with the roster formation. Both are great, and this is what's somewhat unfrustrating, to be honest, being a European like fan, I suppose, from the perspective of the whole pandemic going on, that it's been very frustrating to watch the fact that none of our European guys can really get out to the States right now, but I'm sure it'll change over time. There's certainly a lot of talent in this region. You can actually see right here, this is the amateur open finals from Call of Duty Black Ops 4, that you know, the top team was Quicker and Shawnee and co that were on this squad at the time, and yeah, Josh's team came in second here, exerting what they see as the European amateur dominant right now. These are the matches to go through briefly for later today. So LAG versus Royal Ravens. First up, this is interesting because Royal Ravens have the roster change. Paul X is coming to the team. Gorillas may have been hurt somewhat by this map overhaul that we have had. Then FaZe Ultra. I think that like FaZe is certainly favourites here. It's tough to look past them. Ultra definitely looked competitive the other day, though. Interesting to see how Insight does up against this FaZe lineup. Then you've got Thieves versus Subliners. Last time it was a 3-0 to the Thieves, but an incredibly close 3-0. So it's happening again. I think this will certainly be a closer series. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Game 5 here by any means, but intrigued to hear your perspective in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
So like, he's the nicest guy ever. That's why it's hilarious, because he's just like, I'll talk to him one day and he'll be like, Tom, like, they're all yelling at me, Tom. I'll be like, what are you gonna do, go? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Keep snaking. Keep snaking, go. And then the next day he's like, Tom, you see me snaking? You see me snaking? I saw it, man. I saw it. You're a beast, man. You're a beast. You know what I'm saying? So do your thing, go.